And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story, real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
Well, happy Financial Fitness Friday, everyone. I'm Rich Rosso, CFP, here with Danny Ratliff, CFP. We're so glad you decided to join us today. You awake?
I'm awake. I'm here. I'm ready to roll, Rich.
I'm ready. Well, why don't you do the show and I'll just watch you?
Man, that'd be boring.
Dow futures down 268 points. S&P futures down 42. Sort of in this overbought condition, Danny, aren't we? Sort of. It would be nice to actually see us consolidate here a little bit, see what the next move is, but we're up against a lot of resistance. And we don't really have much of a catalyst to move higher here, so we'll see where this goes. But it's been an impressive move. I know Lance says this isn't a bear market, but it feels very beary to me.
It does. And, we may break that 4-week trend. We had 4 weeks of positive markets. I mean, that's not characteristic in this environment, or maybe it is in some ways, because we've expected as we are very oversold to have that oversold bounce.
That bounce was never coming, right? According to a lot of, oh my gosh, the world's coming to an end. And
that's right.
Just wait. You get these counter trend rallies. You retrace 50 to 61% of the downside. Now I think we're at a critical juncture. See where we need to go.
Well, what's really interesting to me is that the narrative has not changed. The only thing that has changed is just maybe, the Fed's going to pivot. But we could make an argument if the Fed's going to pivot, that likely wouldn't be on good news. So would markets respond as favorably as everybody thinks in the long run with that? Now, the narrative's changed amongst investors, I believe, because I am getting those calls now, Rich, and I'm sure you are as well, of people that want to be more conservative just a month ago are now saying, hey, we need to be more aggressive at this stage. And, I can understand the sentiment and why someone would make an argument to, maybe increase exposure a little bit.
I'm glad these people aren't on the Titanic with us. Everybody go to the other side of the boat. Okay, everybody move to the other side of the boat. It's, again, you're going to get emotionally whipsawed here, and that's not how to manage your wealth. And this whole pivot talk is frankly ridiculous. Inflation's still about 8.5%. And you're looking at a target of 2%. To get to 2%, the Fed's going to need to break something. How the heck do you go from 8.5%? How the heck do you have at this point in the cycle, Danny, even issue or utter the P word, pivot? How does that even happen?
I don't know. Somebody came up with this word and thought, man, this is going to be great. Let's see how far we can go with it. And clearly it's worked. But you're right. It's not going to be as quick as many people were expecting. Now, I do think once we get another couple of months into this, we start looking at these year-over-year numbers, because inflation was rather hot towards the end of last year. Those year-over-year numbers aren't going to be nearly as high as what we've seen as of right now. And people were out and about. They were spending more money. They weren't shut in. So I would suspect that we'll see these numbers come down, a little bit quicker than what we've seen right now. I mean, 9.1 to 8.5. Who knows? How low do you think we can get?
Well, I don't know. I will tell you, obviously, unemployment is at a lower level, right? We're at, 3.6% unemployment. But I will tell you that last Thursday was a survey released by PwC. They polled more than 700 U.S. executives and board members, and this was across a range of industries. And half of the respondents said they're reducing headcount or plan to, and 52% have implemented hiring freezes, and more than 4 in 10 are rescinding job offers. So we are starting to see these layoffs. We've seen it in the tech sector. I do think, Danny, we'll see this is more of going to be a white-collar layoff recession versus service and workers and so forth. Obviously, companies still need employees, but you are starting to see the slowdown hit based on PwC, and they do a pretty decent job with intelligence.
You're getting information just each and every day almost of companies that are slowing down, that are making changes. I mean, we look at the numbers of many of these other corporations that have released earnings. Their forward guidance isn't nearly as strong as what most people would suspect. And where it has gotten better, we talked about this week, is that some of the areas that people are trading down. So, they're not shopping at the high-end stores. Maybe they're going to the more of the middle market or the the Dollar Generals. I think we're seeing that the sectors or the demographics of what people are doing or who's shopping where has changed, and people are cutting back. I mean, we talked about how people's travel plans over the summer changed. How far does that go? How long do people, take this? And does this become more of a habit? You look at the cost of raising children, the cost of eating out. People are starting to meal plan quite a bit more. I was reading an article today on meal planning, on how that's actually come back in vogue, in the sense of people are having to get a little bit more creative with what they have in the pantry. But, one family says every Thursday they have to clean out the pantry day. And so everything throughout the week, it's leftovers, it's whatever you have. You may, throw the vegetables on the grill or in a pan. People are starting to change. And I saw another trend, which I'm sure you're on, meatless Mondays. Well, you're on meatless every day.
Well, unfortunately. Well, and you're right. When John David Rainey, the CEO of Walmart, told CNBC roughly 75% of Walmart's grocery share gains came from shoppers with household incomes of $100,000 or more. People are changing their habits. In a way, we always think that's positive, right? Because maybe it carries over when inflation finally cools off. Maybe there are some good financial habits. Well, but then I thought that during the pandemic, there would be some good habits, and right away people are still spending more on credit cards, going on vacations, lavish trips because they feel entitled. One of the things I worry about from the pandemic, Danny, is obviously we have all the aftermath, right? We don't know how many people who put off cancer screenings, right? People who, children out of school, how that's going to affect them for generations, the mental illness, the drug abuse, the suicides. But also, I'm also thinking that I wonder if we've changed spending habits to where people really don't want to delay gratification at all, because at any minute, the government can shut us down. I'm wondering how maybe the pandemic has affected spending habits for the worst in certain areas. I don't know. So much is changing, but it's just interesting to see people taking these lavish vacations and putting them on credit cards saying, well, I've been locked up for all this time and now I need to go. So consumer spending has still been strong. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's the YOLO mentality all over again, just in a different way.
And I don't think grocery store prices are going down anytime soon, and the Fed's not going to affect that at all. Hey, when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about some of our topics. Mortgage rates are up. Some of the housing economists says the housing is in recession right now. So, but your child wants a mortgage. What do you do? We'll talk about it when we get back here on Financial Fitness Friday. Stay tuned.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets. And unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Get started right now at the website, realinvestmentadvice.com, or simply call our toll-free number, 855-RIA-PLAN, or again, simply online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
Could your job still be at risk? A new normal can still include new obstacles. A severance package can be an emotional as well as a financial decision to consider. Wouldn't it be comforting to review the options for you and your family with an objective financial partner? At RIA Advisors, we're here to help. From severance pay, tax timing decisions, to how to maximize unemployment benefits, the RIA team wants to make sure you can do what's best for your family. There's no charge for a consultation, so reach out to RIA Advisors, 855-RIA-PLAN, RIAadvisors.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
And we're back. I have a quiz for you.
What you got?
What's the sweatiest city in America?
Huh. Houston?
Orlando, Florida.
Really? Okay.
Houston came out number 6.
Number 6. Wow.
That's
We're the
because we're the
sweatiest
most
city in
air-conditioned
America.
city in the world.
Corpus Christi came in number 2. There's a study for everything.
I would have thought the sea breeze would have.
That's what I would have
help a
thought
little
too.
All right.
That's what I really would.
Well, you know,
thought.
Florida's only like 70 miles wide or something. So you can't get away from it,
Yeah,
regardless of which direction those trade winds blow over there.
that's true.
I know. Let's build a city in the middle of a swamp. Welcome to Houston.
Yeah. Those guys are still laughing. They're still laughing. Speaking of crying, not laughing, Danny, you found out some information about how much it costs to raise a child.
Yeah, I'm still crying. So, I mean,
Because we got to do a multiplier with
Oh,
Danny. We have to
man.
take it to the third power or fourth power. But what cheery information did you come up with today?
yeah. So the Brookings Institute did a new survey, and they looked at the inflation and how much it costs to raise a child. And I thought, hey, okay, well, they're going to use 2021 numbers, 2020. No, they went back to 2017, and they said that a married middle-income couple with 2 children would spend $310,000 or $605 to be exact, or an average of $18,271 a year to raise their younger child born in 2015 through age 17. So one child, $18,000 a year.
Wow.
I don't know how people are going to make it. Look, obviously this is an average.
Hey,
There's many people who do it on
but child
far,
care,
far less.
look at child care, right?
Yeah.
We always have to weigh out, do the equation, whether or not it's worth it for a couple to go to work. Sometimes it's not, depending on the jobs. It's worth it for maybe one party to stay home, right?
That's right. And so they stopped. They didn't do the study for 2 years, and it's up actually 9% over that time frame. So looking back, I mean, these numbers, I mean, this is what scares people to death when you start throwing these big numbers out. So this is going to, people are going to stop thinking about like, hey, you do actually family planning, and people still do that. You may.
Do you think about
opt not
based
to have
on
a
world
child.
demographics, people have already thought about it?
Yeah.
The state of demographics is pretty poor. China is really suffering right now. I mean, we're not doing much better.
We're doing much better than China, but
As far as still the world from a demographic perspective, and here's part of the reason,
yeah.
right? This is also part of the reason. Friends with no kids be like, you want to go to Africa on Friday? Because I don't have to spend $310,000?
Well, look, you see a lot of couples without children.
I spoke to a young couple the other day, and they said, "Listen, we're not having kids. We like the freedom, and we have a lot more discretionary money." I'm like, well, I can't argue with you. You're going to meet your retirement goal a lot sooner.
They've done well, right?
You know, you got to look at the qualitative aspects of having a child. I only wanted one, and part of the reason was, one, I was an only child, but I did the calculation. I'm like, I'm sorry, but
I wanted 5, and then I had 1. Then I had 2 more, and I was like, nope.
You're still young, Danny. You can. Oh
man, I am not that young.
You could still have 2 more.
Yeah, you could.
It could happen.
Probably shouldn't.
You could have twins.
You know, hey, Rich could have kids. I mean,
listen, I have fun trying, but no.
Oh man, that'll wake you up.
You know,
Make you spit out your
there's
coffee.
the good part of it, and then there's the bad part of it. So, where do we go from there?
Thanks for that visual.
But this is interesting. So
I'm even frightened at it.
These cover a range of different expenses, right? So they're looking at housing, food, clothing, healthcare, childcare, accounts for childhood milestones, activities, diapers, haircuts, sports equipment, dance lessons. I mean,
I said this to my kid. I'm never going to be a grandfather.
That's right. But I mean,
she's going to get another cat.
So many people who they look at these things and they say, "Oh my gosh!" I mean, if you look at the state of child's, it used to be you just go play rec ball. Now you play select ball, and you're spending so much money with baseball. Dance. I have clients that we look at the numbers for dance. I mean, some are spending between $15,000 and $20,000 just on that.
And the state of public school, you got to be somewhat woohoo to maybe you got to really examine that whether or not you're going to send your kids to private school today.
Well, and that's the kicker too, is that has become so expensive, and the average cost goes up exponentially. I mean, we're talking 5 to 7% is what that was, and so I did the numbers with when my oldest was in kindergarten some years back,
right.
And it was I did it without inflating it because I didn't want to scare myself to death. And for 3,
you didn't do that.
For 3 at our area where we live, it was going to be about $1 million, if not more.
You want to feel good about your financial plan. You want to feel good about having children. You want to feel good. Just don't include inflation.
Yeah.
Just take it out of the equation altogether.
Well, I did it, and I didn't feel good.
It still scared you.
Yeah.
My daughter sends me a picture of the cat in the stroller watching TV. I'm like, I'm done. I am never going to have a grandchild. And the cat is sitting there watching a cartoon. I'm like, I'm done. It's over. I mean, I'm watching this cat watch a cartoon. And the cat is watching the cartoon. And I'm like, I said to my ex, great, she's a great mom. I said, we're never going to be grandparents, are we? She goes, not unless, we have litter boxes. So
was the cat watching Tom and Jerry?
No, some Japanese cartoon. You ever see those videos of cats watching television and they swipe at the...
My Josie...
Oh, your dog
watches TV, sees a dog, and starts going crazy.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You know why? Because the picture is so realistic, right? Yes. So the dog looks at it and goes, oh, there's another dog.
Yeah. Yeah, she flips out.
That little Josie's so cute. Do you see Brent's little dog?
Oh, yeah.
She's not spoiled at all.
No. None whatsoever.
Not spoiled at all.
Will never be.
Yeah. Well, speaking of spoiled... We had said, Danny and I, well, we've been saying, but we had said it months ago, if you want to buy a car, if you want to buy a house, wait. Just wait. If you don't need it, wait. Housing affordability is at the worst level since 2006, right? So there's a trend for the bank of mom and dad to fund mortgages, right? Your kid needs a mortgage. And there are affluent parents that are footing the bill, and not really footing the bill, but making the loan, right, Danny?
Well, I think we're seeing more and more people are having to do that just to attain the house that they want. With prices going up the way that they did, also with interest rates, many people were priced out. So they had to tap mom and dad because they couldn't afford it otherwise.
Right, they couldn't. But you look at the National Association of Realtors came out the other day. House sales have dropped 20% in June compared to the same time last year. Their chief economist now believes that we are in a housing recession. You know, at RIA, we have all our debt. We have debt guardrails. We have savings guardrails. But one is a primary residence mortgage, 2 times gross salary. No excuses. It's a tough tenant, but that means young home buyers, they have to buckle down, they have to sacrifice, they have to save to meet the threshold. We always recommend, right, Danny? You don't need all the square footage, smaller homes, fewer furnishings, whether you're starting out or you're retiring. So one of the things, if your kids do need a mortgage, you got to keep in mind, how objective are you going to be about this? In other words, how many times have you witnessed clients forsake their own financial health and well-being to assist their children? Listen, we would do it, right? We want to assist our kids. But I see parents do this over and over and over again, giving their child money to get out of debt, and the child goes back into debt, right? They have to know their limits, especially if I'm getting close to retirement. Well, how much am I sacrificing? And one way to do that, I've had one client that said, my kid's going to need money. We might as well put it into the financial plan and then figure out how much I can give him every year. Now, and again, as a financial planner, you don't have to agree philosophically with your client. You just want to help your client hit the goal they want and then also make them aware of the pitfalls. So you've got to know your limits of how much you can do to help your children, and how much fiscal bandwidth you have to make those dollars available for family loan purposes. And that's where we always say, don't forsake retirement security. It's a loan. There's always a risk of unforeseen circumstances that can jeopardize retirement income. We see this a lot with college planning, right, Danny?
We do. We see this with college planning. We see this, in many different elements here. But I have more probably bad experiences or just client experiences than good. And many times, a lot of times we can justify and say, okay, this is going to be an investment. The kid's going to pay me. I'm going to put this much down. I'm going to buy this house, and they're going to pay me every month. I'm going to get interest back on it, and it's going to be a win-win. But most of the time, it doesn't end up like that.
It doesn't.
I hate to say it.
I think you're thinking emotionally, right? Because this is your child. You're not looking at it, say, as a bank would look at this loan.
Well, you need to, and that's the thing is you need to actually back into these numbers. Say, okay, the kid's coming to me for this, and I've seen this work. So not everybody's like this. I mean, there's some really responsible children out there that do a great job with this. Parents set very good expectations.
They do.
But there's a lot of times where they do this when the kid's in over their head as it is. They shouldn't be doing this. Should be addressing other things first and thinking about, okay, well, if you're coming to me for this, what's the reason why?
Yep. Hey, we get back. We're going to continue. If you're going to be the bank of mom and dad, which is it has been a big trend, but it's a growing trend in the face of rising mortgage rates, there are some tips we put together just for you. We'll be right back. Financial Fitness Friday, Steve.
Can't you see that love is everywhere? Step into the confusion. Can't you hear the sound that's in the air? It's rock and roll. 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 It's rock and roll.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
In 1999, a parafiduciary group of financial advisors were busted by corporate giants for trying to operate in their clients' best interest. These men promptly escaped from a high-cost margin environment to the Houston Energy Corridor. Today, still excoriated by their former employers, they survive as protectors of others' fortunes. If you have a problem about preserving capital, if no one else can help, and you can find them right here, maybe you should hire the RIA team.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Let's be honest. Me and Brant, we're here whether it's sickness or injury.
Without fail.
Without fail. Danny gets a little sniffle and he's at home all curled up with his blankie.
Well, he's got all those Petri dishes on legs running around his house.
You know what, though? But I had that. You know what happens? Your immune system gets a lot stronger.
The Real Investment Show podcast. Same show, your schedule.
Drink out of the garden hose.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
That was the best water.
It was. It's not great for you, but...
Anyone can sell you insurance, and they'll gladly take your premium dollars. The RIA Insurance Agency can provide you with insurance solutions tailor-made for your needs and lifestyle. Because everyone's assets are different, let RIA Insurance review what you need to protect and how. We won't sell you insurance, but what you need will be a matter of policy. RIA Insurance Agency. 888-915-0780. 888-915-0780. RealInvestmentAdvice.com. Click on the insurance tab.
Real Investment Show podcasts are now available from Stitcher Smart Radio at Stitcher.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA Advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. It's a quick and easy application. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
Have market gyrations caused you to lose sleep? If so, it's because you have more risk in your portfolio than you realize. It's time to reevaluate your long-term investing strategy with RIA Advisors. Our disciplined approach can help eliminate unnecessary risk. If you think it's time to work with an advisor who puts your interests first, it's time for Real Investment Advice. RIAadvisors.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So, is being an adult just a cycle of spending hundreds on groceries, getting home, then deciding you want to order pizza instead? Yes, it absolutely is. In Brent's case, Casa Cabana or Taco Cabana or Casa, any kind of Chewy's. Mexican food over pizza.
Her favorite
Mexican over pizza
is Taco Bueno.
Taco Bueno.
And, you know, we live up northwest.
Yeah. Is there a Taco Bueno?
No.
There isn't.
No.
Right.
She will either drive to Katy.
No way.
To Katy.
Or to Conroe, where there are Taco Buenos running.
Which are both, what, 25, 30 miles from
Oh,
me?
yeah. Yeah.
This
easily.
Mexican food for Texans is like a drug.
It is.
She might as well go to Chewy's by the time you factor in the gas and the time.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Man.
That's what happens when you're hooked.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm like that with pizza because from New York.
Really?
Like, well, every block is a pizzeria, a pizza place versus here.
Yeah.
You open a Mexican restaurant, everybody comes. You open a pizzeria, everybody comes, right? It's just different. It's just different. So I never had the addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I like the food, but I've just never had the addiction. That's just what you grew up with.
And it's not like Tex-Mex anywhere else in America.
No, I would agree.
What you get here.
No, I would agree with that.
Well, you can't go anywhere else and think you're going to go eat Mexican food. Cause
Texas in general. I mean, even if
you're
you
always
go eat barbecue, New York City's got barbecue restaurants, and I laugh. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. That's got to work. Yeah.
It's meat and tomato sauce is all that is.
Now I want meat and tomato sauce. So if your kids need a mortgage, we put together these 6 lessons for the bank of mom and dad. And don't forsake retirement was number 2, your retirement security. When we see retirees who undertake these intra-family loans, they have more than enough liquid assets to cover needs and cash for emergencies. So, because it could be a long-term illiquid asset. Your kid's not going to stay in a house for 30 years, let's face it, but it could be 10. Right, so you don't want to forsake your retirement security. Then you do, and this is the toughest one, Danny, I think, is you do have to think like a loan officer. Because Haley always shares with me what her credit score is, because that's like a badge of honor. And I'm really glad that I taught her what's important that goes into a credit score. She's always, she wears it like a badge of courage. I love that, right? So you have to look at or objectively analyze your children's relationship with money. You have to. A child with poor credit is probably not going to qualify for a bank loan, and he or she shouldn't qualify for a loan from the bank of mom and dad. What do you think there, loan officer Danny?
No, I agree. I think that you need to address probably bad habits, additional debt that you may have that the child has. But you have to look at the big picture and really understand it within the financial plan, like you mentioned last segment. Mm-hmm. The problem is that we can make these numbers work many times. Right. But should you is the question. And I think that's the bigger part, is taking the emotional aspect out of it, mm-hmm. and then saying, okay, look, guys, here's what we need to do prior to you going to buy this home. I'm going to help you, but let's go. What's the hierarchy of paying off the debt you have? How much money do you have saved in the savings account? Do you understand the true expenses of owning a home? Home ownership is not cheap.
The total payment, right.
Yeah.
And you have the ability or a track record of observing your child's relationship with money. I'd only make a loan to my daughter if her credit score was 739 or better, and I know her score, right?
And that's difficult for somebody young starting off to have. You're not going to come out of the gate.
Well, she started getting these credit scores when she started to build up through credit cards, the secured credit cards. Mm-hmm. There's ways for your young child to build credit. But you say that's the case, Danny, you can still watch, like you already know with your children, don't you? Who's the saver?
Oh, yeah.
Who's the spender, right? You could sort of get the idea of how your children are with money by the time they're ready to purchase a home. So I know it's a tough way to look at it.
Well, I had one bartering with me yesterday. I made $10. This is great. So he says, "Hey, Dad, I want a $100 bill. Do you have any $100 bills?" I said, "Man, I don't keep my money laying around. Let me see if I can
Dad.
find one." Wait. So I go get a $100 bill, and I said, "Hey, he's got his money counted. Bunch of ones, some 10s, some 20s." And I said, "Okay, you counted this money?" "Oh, yes, sir." I said, "You sure?" I'd already counted. I knew what he did. He put $10 too much.
Oh.
And which is really shocking, because this is a kid that I'll take to Walmart to buy gifts during Christmas for his brothers and sisters, and we'll say, we have $20, and it'll take 2 hours. I mean, everybody thinks we're broke because he's going back and, okay, Dad, if I buy this and I can't get this, and he's doing the math in his head.
That's what Haley used to do too.
And it's fantastic.
That's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good for him.
But yes, I said, okay.
It's fun to watch, isn't it?
It is. It's fun.
It's fun to watch the money anguish.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking about it and they're doing the math. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I said, hey, so whatever you have here, you're sure? Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. So took the money, made the exchange. And so I counted it in front of him. I said, oh, man, I just made $10. This is a great deal.
Look at this interest I just made.
He was not happy. His face went from a big smile to, you could tell he was not feeling real good. Well, Dad, I said, hey, man.
That's how the loan sharks do it in New York.
It's an exchange fee.
Yeah, that's right. I said, this is why it's always important. So we made it into a lesson. This is always why it's important. Count it twice. Understand exactly what you have. So I gave it back to him. But I don't think you'll make that mistake again.
I would also suggest then after that you watch Goodfellas to understand what happens when you renege on.
Yeah, you don't pay something back. Well, luckily this wasn't a loan, just an exchange. And, he got a kick out of it. We have some rules. You can't take it to school. And he's going to have to go put it in the bank. So that's what our next step is. We're going to the bank.
I'm surprised he hadn't framed it. My first $100.
Well, then you can't spend it.
Yeah. Kid's a good saver.
Good for him.
See, that's good.
He's pretty good. Now, he's really good. He's probably better than my other ones at actually understanding like the save, spend, and then the charitable aspect of it. We went out to eat. We try to go out like once a week, give or take. And he's like, hey, Dad. He starts pulling out some ones. He's going to tip the waiter. I was like, hey, man, I already took care of that. No, I think he did a good job, Dad.
That kid would have been great in The Sopranos.
Yes.
At the Jiggly Room.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
With all those ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Leave it to Richard to shatter the image.
I know.
Only because
Sweet, innocent.
I got roped into doing another scene for that film that's coming out.
Yeah.
With
yeah.
Artie Pasquale, who was in The Sopranos. Of course, he got the in The Sopranos. So, and then he had a dog in The Sopranos. Like, what's going to happen to the dog? So maybe you don't want to give your kid a loan, but you can maybe say, I might make a gift. I might do that. So if you do want to do it, understand that you have the annual gift exclusion, $16,000 each recipient. So mom and dad can each give $16,000 to each child and avoid the hassles of filing a gift tax return. Again, that's a far cry from financing a mortgage, but it can help. So according to the National Association of Realtors, they come out with a report every year, 29% of younger millennials receive down payment assistance in the form of a gift or loan from a friend or relative. And Danny, but you brought up something very important. If I'm going to make this gift to my children, I also want to help them understand the responsibilities of owning a home. Lance was on the other day talking about how a house is really not an investment.
Mm-hmm.
It's an expense. And it's not a right. It's a privilege. There's a responsibility that goes along with it. So you better help your child understand, even though I'm giving you this gift, I'm not making this loan. Do you understand what goes into a loan payment? What percentage of your take-home pay is this total payment? So you still want to have these conversations or understand, even with the gift, to your child.
Well, you have to be careful
children.
with the gift as well, because if you give it to them after you're going through, let's say they're going through a mortgage process, and you give it to them in the middle of it, and additional money shows up.
That's right.
You can get in trouble. The whole thing could be off.
Absolutely. That's why you want to work with your loan officer to understand how this gift is going to work, because it could mess up the whole thing. You also have to look at the impact of taxes. So if a parent sits on, say, after-tax cash, wants a return on that cash, then an intra-family mortgage can work. So as of this writing, the IRS applicable federal rate, right, they print these tables, of a 30-year or the 30-year AFR is 3.3%. So, Danny, that's the federal rate. That's the rate the IRS wants you to use. That's the base rate. You can increase that rate. Like if Lance was making this loan to his kids, it wouldn't be 3.30. It would be like 9%, right? So we know that. But you have to understand.
Lance would just say, go get a job.
Yeah, what? This AFR, what? F this AFR 3.3, 6.6 for you. You still have to understand that it's still cheaper than a conventional mortgage today. So there are a lot of parents that are going, okay, if I make this loan, I make some interest on my money, my child, I went through all the steps, good credit score, I have the excess cash in an after-tax account just sitting there, I can do this. You have to use this table to do so. It's very important, right?
Well, you don't want the IRS to audit you, come back, and then that's where you're going to end up in trouble. And then a good deed is really getting punished.
And based on the number of IRS agents coming, you're going to get audited.
Ooh, yeah.
Who the heck wants to work for the IRS? I know the IRS is going to hire all these new workers over the next decade, but we can't find workers for anything. Can we find workers for the IRS?
Look, this is where everybody wants to go. You don't have to physically work. You can't get fired. Go work for the government.
You get a pension.
Get a pension.
You carry a gun.
Healthcare.
You can shoot anybody who doesn't sign their 1040.
Yeah, I don't understand that whole thing.
Your AGI is off by $100. You will die now. When we come back, we're going to continue with these tips. Stay tuned.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
In 1999, a parafiduciary group of financial advisors were busted by corporate giants for trying to operate in their clients' best interest. These men promptly escaped from a high-cost margin environment to the Houston Energy Corridor. Today, still excoriated by their former employers, they survive as protectors of others' fortunes. If you have a problem about preserving capital, if no one else can help, and you can find them right here, maybe you should hire the RIA team.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Get started right now at the website, realinvestmentadvice.com, or simply call our toll-free number, 855-RIA-PLAN at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
And we're back. So listen, these interfamily loans are going to become more popular as interest rates rise. And parents need to make, or family members need to make the right decisions with their money and take the emotions out of it. And as we know with money and emotions, they are too entwined and you have to separate them like a bank officer would. So how many people have come to you, Danny? I know I've had some people come to me and say, yeah, I want to make this mortgage loan. I go through all the steps. And I'm like, well, we don't have any after-tax cash to do. Where are you getting the money to do this? Oh, I'm going to take an IRA withdrawal. No, we're not doing that. So here I am. I'm going to take, a couple $100,000 out of my IRA, and I'm going to be taxed, and I have to look at the implications on taxation on Social Security. I have to look at IRMA. No, we can't do this. It's not going to work. Well, can I get a loan off my IRA? No. You could take the money out for 60 days. So if this is a short-term loan, we can certainly do that. But no. So you've got to be careful to understand where you're getting the money to make this loan to your children. And you have to look at the total repercussions. So if I'm going to get taxed at 30% or so, or 27% or whatever it is, I better understand that why I'm willing to do this, and I'm going to lose money in the deal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So now that this good deed is even punished even more because you're having to take it from just one spot.
Right.
That's why we talk so frequently. I visited with somebody, actually two people this week, who said, you know what, I don't need a plan. I'm not ready to retire. And I thought, whoa, man, hold on now. There's so much more we can do. Look, I don't care how long you have
buddy.
prior to retirement. If you're really close, if you got a long time, obviously if we can start the younger, a lot of young people think they don't need one. No way, I can't even think that far out. I don't know what it's going to look like. But how do you know where you start putting funds? How do you understand, what you need down the road?
And what milestones you're going to hit? You have goals for your money.
That's right.
But don't you want to see how your habits, what you do, how that's a wave effect, throwing that pebble in the water? Don't I want to know the waves I create by my actions? That's why plans for younger people, even though I understand retirement is this nebulous kind of thing, you've like you said, Danny, you've got these money habits that you're laying out. We want to show you the result of that. make you more financially or money aware because you still might need insurance, right?
Yep.
You still might need. How many times you go through a plan with a younger person and then they don't take disability income insurance at work?
Man, so many times.
Right?
That's a scary one.
They have young children and they don't have life insurance. I mean, a lot of crazy things that people do that a plan will bring to the surface, and it is an awareness to a plan, even though ultimately, you might be 30 years from retirement. It's a big difference. So one of the other ideas we had was to think balance. What exactly is your child's skin in the game for this house? And I'm not talking that they have to make the payment, but a recent insight from a client actually sparked this idea. He's an advocate. He does these intrafamily loans. But he also believes that the down payment, Danny, is the child's responsibility. And I like this idea. There's nothing wrong with skin in the game. If I can see how my children practice financial discipline, build up that down payment, right? If I have cash on the line, you should have cash on the line as well. So I absolutely don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, well, just like with anything, I think when you have skin in the game, it becomes that much more important to you. Mm-hmm. And so if you didn't have that money down, you didn't understand how this works, you didn't actually have to work and save that money.
Right.
Well, then where's your vested interest? How are you going to treat the house, the car, the whatever it may be? I mean, I think we all know. If you don't have that skin in the game, that responsibility just typically isn't there.
Absolutely. Same thing with college, right?
Yep.
You might want to pay for your your children's college education so they don't have debt, but you also want to see how they do with their grades. What's the skin in the game there? Are they working a part-time job to pay for all their other additional expenses?